Hey yo, what's up? Um, I was coaxed into making a video about my favorite lenses, except I forgot to mention that they were my favorite Nikkor lenses, and so all the Fuji people had hissy fit, and they're like, "Wee, you didn't include any Fuji lenses," and that's because I was planning on doing this video today. They thought that I didn't include any Fuji lenses because I don't know, that I hated him or something, and it was just, I should have called the video my favorite lenses for Nikon. So I was going to make this video and about my favorite Fuji lenses, and that's the reason why they weren't mentioned in that video from yesterday or day before yesterday. Actually, all of these are my favorite Fuji lenses. I have now since tried all current Fuji lenses, including the latest release, the 100 to 400. That lens is not as heavy as I thought it was, 100 to 400, but it is obnoxiously expensive and it's obnoxiously big. And I've actually got superior options with other lenses, including I am having tons and tons of fun using the 500 millimeter f8 with the Fuji. And with focus peaking, I sit there and handhold that sucker all day long. So I wouldn't buy it even if it were $1,000. Sorry Fuji, but at $1,800, no way. But even if it was 1,000, which there's no way they can make it that much money, but I would still never buy it at 1,000. So, while the lens was, wickedly great in resolution, I give it a general thumbs down for being, not a great value. I don't want a lens like this sticking out of the front of the Fuji, even though it's rather lightweight. I still didn't really find any love for it. But that's not about lenses I don't like. It's about, like I said, I've used all the Fuji lenses now. No particular order. I have used the 35mm f1.4, which of course has a more shallow depth of field at f1.4 than does 35mm f2. This is weather sealed, which really doesn't mean a damn thing. And it is a little bit sharper. Also faster autofocus acquisition. It's also really, really damn cheap compared to the 35mm f1.4, but I mean it's the 35mm f2, it should be that. But this lens is the new standard normal lens for the Fuji X-T10, X-T1, X-Pro 2, and this lens is a must-have. I mean, I would actually call you stupid for not buying the Fuji 35mm f2. In no particular order again, typically kit lenses are never that great. Doesn't matter who makes them, kit lenses. The Fuji kit lens, however, the 18-55, and its fast lens at f2.8 to f4 is actually an incredibly well-made lens. And you can find them for, I've seen more than a few for like $220 on eBay in like new shape. And I had 3 of them, and I got rid of one of them. But this lens, I still got 2 of them. Why, I have no idea. This lens is the tits. And for a kit lens, I mean, it's just flat, balls out, incredible lens. And nobody ever looks at it, it's a kit lens, I want to get the professional one. This lens is awesome. I mean, it really is. And I consider this lens to be must-have. That's the second lens that I would consider to be must-have. As I've actually said, in no particular order, and whether it's Nikon or Fuji or anybody else, the second most important lens to have is a wide zoom. The 10 to 24 f4. Constant f4 across the board from 10 to 24 millimeters is absolutely incredible. Vibration reduction, incredibly well made. It's actually the hardest thing to make, one of the hardest thing, actually it's like the second hardest thing to make, is a really awesome wide zoom. And Fuji just blew the balls off of it with the 10 to 24. Now, the debate that comes up to me all the time was like, well, I only have enough money for one more lens, and you said the 16 millimeter is the best, and it is. But it's a fixed prime. And, like I'm going to travel. It doesn't matter if you're traveling or what you're doing. Any good prime is going to beat an awesome zoom. And in this case, this is an incredibly awesome wide zoom. But it's still a zoom. And the hardest thing to make is a wide zoom really, really well. Only a few people have actually been able to do that and pull it off in really, really good fashion. And this is one of them. And that's from Fuji, the 10 to 24. So the question becomes, all things being equal, they're roughly the same price. Not really. But let's assume that they are. If you can only afford one, well, then you have to weigh the circumstances yourself. While this is Fuji's best lens, the 16 millimeter, this is also the most useful. And taking lenses off and on and switching back and forth is a bit of a pain in the fanny. I'm no fan of it by any means, way, shape, or form. So then the question becomes, well, if you can only afford one right now, which would you get? And in all general applied circumstances, the conclusion would be you'd be happiest with the 10 to 24. Well, obviously at 16 millimeters, it is not the 16 millimeter f1.4 Fuji. Nevertheless, it is a 10 to 24, and for walking around and you know, having tons of fun, most people are going to be more happy and get more, squeeze more fun out of the wide zoom than they are the 16 millimeter Fuji, even though it is Fuji's best lens. My opinion anyway, having tested all of them. This is one of the last lenses to test. I thought, oh, it won't be that great. Nobody can really nail a 16 millimeter really well. This one isn't even that good. It is absolutely off the scale awesome. It's the tits. I mean, it's expensive lens, but this is, I've already got 3 of the 4 of my top of the Fuji lenses right here. The 35 f2, the 15 to 55, 18 to 55, excuse me, and the 10 to 24 Fuji f4, and the 16 millimeter f1.4 Fuji here, which is a Fuji's best lens. So this is number 4 in no particular order. Rather an expensive lens, but oh my god, just incredible, just incredible. I mean, absolutely undeniably an incredible damn lens that you know, I had no idea it would be that good, or I would have tested it as one of my first candidates instead of the last one. Apparently not many people own it, or I would have actually investigated it sooner. Now these are also all still my favorite lenses, but those are definitely the top 4 out of well, I got 9 here, don't I? Yeah, of the 9 lenses that I have here. Secondly, the body cap lens, the 27 millimeter. Right here I got a couple of them, 27 millimeter f2.8. Tiny little pancake lens, really awesome, not spectacular, but you know, in bad weather I can tuck the XT1 underneath my jacket, and this is far better than keeping a body cap on the camera. Can you believe I've got 3 XT1s here? This is an XT1, this is an XT1, this is an XT1, I got an XT10. The reason I got this XT10 is because I got it for $580 basically, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's the reason I bought this lens. I mean, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous cheap. Anyway, the 27 millimeter f2.8, you can find these used all day long for like 230 bucks or something like that, gray market. Never consider looking back or thinking if you need a USA warranty 27 millimeter. Just buy it gray market really cheap from Asia or Japan or Taiwan or whatever. No particular order. Like I said, these are my absolute top favorite out of the top 9 Fuji lenses that I ended up buying. I've actually got 13 Fuji lenses, but the rest of them are copies, and the other one's a 35 f1.4, which I didn't include into this bunch, which yes, I do actually happen to have tested, but I also happen to own a 35 millimeter f1.4. The remaining 4 that I have over here, it might actually shock people that I would not choose the 56 millimeter f1.2. It's kind of a toss-up. Actually, the bokeh out of the slow old lens right here, the 60 millimeter f2.4 Fuji, is actually my favorite between the two because it's a dual-purpose lens, macro, not at 1:1, but 1:2. But it actually has better bokeh, and it's actually sharper in certain circumstances. Obviously, it's an f2.4, and this is an f1.2. This is a lot more expensive. This is obviously the Divine Portraiture lens, and it's exquisite. And I include it in the top lenses here of all the Fuji lenses that exist for the Fuji X-mount, X Pro 2, Fuji XT10, and the XT1s, which I've got 3 of here, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to get rid of one of them. Don't worry, I ain't holding on to 3 Fuji XT1s. That's just ridiculous. Well, between the two, I'm actually happier using the 60. Not to say that the 56 millimeter f1.2 isn't exquisite, and it isn't worth every bang for the buck. But actually, the Fuji 60 millimeter, the old lens here, while it is slower in autofocus, don't really give a damn, it doesn't really matter in macro, I'm more happy with this lens at general purpose use than I am with the 56. It's very lightweight, it's dual purpose, it's got better bokeh at f2.4 than does the 56 millimeter f1.2, and it's a whole lot cheaper too. Not that that matters, I own both, I don't give a damn if it's expensive or not. If it's a really good lens, I'll get it. That's why I tested all of them, and which very stupidly, the very last lens that I test happens to also be the best lens. Hooray! Hooray for making that mistake. The 55 to 200, undeniably Fuji's best telephoto zoom. I absolutely love it. It's not that expensive either, and it's exquisite. I love the lens. I absolutely love the lens, 55-200, but it doesn't make the match as far as my top 4. My top 4 right here, the 16 millimeter, the 35 millimeter f2, the 18 to 55, and the 10 to 24. And like I said, these are in no particular order also, the 55 to 200. And the last that I've laid out here, I should have brought out the 35mm f1.4. I didn't bring it out. I got it in my case. The 18 to 135, this is actually the last lens that I wanted as a perfect wide to telephoto. And typically, everybody fails on lenses like this, because when you're talking about a super zoom or an ultra zoom, where it's going between something ridiculous to something long in telephoto, it never cuts it. It's always fuzzy at both ends. It's never a great lens. Actually, Fuji better than Nikon has in their especially the 18 to 200, especially that lens, or the 18 to 200. I mean, they've outdone a Nikon as far as the making and awesome. But it's also, it's a DX lens, but it's still tough to make an ultra zoom lens with this kind of focal range from 18 to 135 and not make it fuzzy and crappy. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. It's like, well, it kind of does everything. It goes from wide to telephoto. It's like, yeah, Swiss Army knife, It's got a knife, but it's not a good knife. It's got a corkscrew, but it's not a good corkscrew. So it does everything, but it doesn't do anything very well. This is basically an exception to that, and this is one of the last lenses that I grabbed. This wasn't a necessity. These are the necessity lenses. After having tested all the Fuji lenses, these are the necessity lenses that I bought, and this was like the last one to get, because I found one really cheap. From Roberts Camera, no less. Get all your stuff. I have no connection to Roberts. Get all your stuff really cheap. A lot of you are complaining about Roberts Camera lately, but what you're complaining about is like, damn, this lens is in better condition than I rated it, and I got it for cheaper than I thought. That's something good to complain about, right? And of course, they've got a 6-month warranty on all their used stuff, unless it's in fair condition, in which case it doesn't have that warranty, but everything else has a 6-month warranty, and you can't get that from anybody else. It sounds like I'm plugging Roberts, but I'm not. It's just that they're that good. They really, really are. I make no mistakes. They're actually very impressive on their customer service. And their facility is huge. People are like, who's Roberts? It's like, you've been to Roberts? That place is gigantic. It's huge. It rivals the big guys up in New York. And like, not so many people have heard of them, but you should investigate them, especially on their used stuff. Their used stuff sells for dirt cheap. And the New York guys on used stuff, you can't really trust them. You can't. I mean, they'll shaft you 9 ways to Sunday. You get a great deal on new stuff from them, but Roberts will beat them on new stuff as well, so it doesn't make any difference. But you can't trust the guys up in New York City on used gear. Anyway, out of all the Fuji best lenses, which all of these are Fuji best lenses, the ones that are my top pick, again, the absolute tits, the 16mm, 35mm f2, the 18 to 55, and the 10 to 24. And I know people will be shocked that I didn't include the 56mm f1.2 in that lineup, but I just didn't. It just didn't make the cut. It's impressive, and I know what it is, and I like it for the same reasons you like it, but it just doesn't make the cut. That's not to say I don't love it, because all of these lenses, I love them, and that's why I bought them, because they made the cut from all the rest of the Fuji lineup. So, ultimately I have to cut things off at some point in time, and it just didn't make the cut. Hate it, love it, whatever you want. I was asked to make this video, and now I has made it. Anyway, let me know if you got any questions, and I'll catch you on live stream tonight. Okay, bye! Bye! Fuji! Fuji! Oh yeah, by the way, the Fuji reps give me a nice hat when they drop by. Actually, not when they drop by, when people are going to think I'm sponsored by Fuji. Thanks to the Fuji representative for giving me the free Fuji hat. Thank you for that, and I'll catch you later.